Hi, I'm Jay, and we have here a Trion CB100 fan-powered humidifier, and I'm going to talk about how to figure out why there's no water going down the drain when it's running. Be sure to turn the power off before performing any maintenance. Before performing this service, it is necessary to shut off the water. Find the saddle valve, turn it clockwise until it stops. All right, next thing we're going to do is take the cover off. So this model has a little access door here. All right, now we'll remove the screw here that holds the fan assembly onto the base. Now we'll unplug the power cord. And pop the power head off. All right, first thing we're going to do is determine whether we have water here on the inlet side of this valve. So I have had my assistant turn this water off, so we're going to disconnect this right here. This particular one happens to be a friction style, so we can just push up on this little button and pull the line out. All right. Now we're going to aim this into a bucket, and I'll have my assistant turn the water back on. All right, beautiful. So we do have water to this point, so now we can have the assistant turn the water off. If you do this test and when you turn the water on, nothing comes out of this pipe, the problem is the saddle valve. That is not an uncommon problem. Those saddle valves do fail over time. They will get plugged up with sediment, and the easiest repair for that is just to put a new saddle valve in. They're available from us, and once you put a new one in, you should be able to have good water at this point, and that should solve your problem. All right, we can reconnect this line. There we go, slide back there. And again, it's a friction fit, so it just slides right in. All right, so now we've proven we have water to this point here, so we can turn the water back on, and we can figure out why the water is not going past this point. So we'll have the assistant turn the water back on at this point. All right, and then we're going to see what happens next. All right, now that we've proven we have water to this point, let's find out if we have water leaving the valve. So we have everything turned off right now except for the water. All the electricity is turned off. We're going to take this apart here so that we can get to this fitting. So let's remove the pad. And now this water distribution tray. Let's just pop this off here. There we go. All right, now we're going to use our little tool here. I'm just using a little wrench to depress this little button. So I'm going to push that down. There we are. All right, now you'll notice here there's a tiny little orifice on the end of this thing. And that is what regulates the volume of water that leaves the valve and goes up this tube into the tray. So it's important that that little fitting be in there, okay? It's a replaceable item. These things do wear out at times. Sometimes they plug. Sometimes they get a giant hole in them, but they're easily replaced. That'll just slide right out of there to put a new one in. So for the time being, we're going to set this on the side. And now we're going to check to see if we have water leaving the valve. So the water is turned on right here. And what we're going to do is get a rag. And we're going to cover this top, because if this valve is working, there's going to be water flying out of that opening. And now what we're going to do is have my assistant turn the unit on and turn on the humidifier and see if we get water into our rack. Nothing's happening. So we have no water here going to the rag. So this valve, for some reason, it's not opening. So now we're going to determine why this valve is not opening. Okay, so now we have water to this point here. The water's turned on. We have water pressure here. We have nothing leaving this valve. So let's make sure that we have electricity to this valve. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my assistant turn the humidistat up, down, up, down, up, down, and then we're going to listen for the noise. You should hear the solenoid valve making a clicking noise, and also on this model, this one happens to have a relay in it, you should be able to hear that relay clicking back and forth. So let's try that. All right, so that clicking noise means that we are getting power to two things, this little relay here and the solenoid valve coil here. So with that happening, we should have had water flying out of the top of this thing, and nothing happened, which means this valve is faulty and it's stuck in a closed position internally, and it needs to be replaced. So you can get one of these from us and put a new one in and put the unit back together, and then that'll be the end of it. There are certain models of this particular humidifier that right here, instead of having this little relay, they'll have a circuit board that fits in this spot right here. And that circuit board, what it does is it will turn the water, which is this, it'll turn this valve on and off at various times in order to save water. So it will open up the valve, see that the pad's wet, close the valve. And then when it sees the pad's dry, it will send power to the valve, open it up. Once it sees it's wet, it will close the valve again. So it will kind of cycle this valve back and forth. So you may potentially hear a clicking noise each time it does that. But nonetheless, if you have that style, when this valve is clicking on and off, you should see water flying out of this port. And again, we don't have that here, so obviously we have a bad valve. Another way to test the solenoid valve is to see if there's electricity to it with a meter. So right here are the two wires that feed it. And what we can do is get a voltmeter on these wires. So right now we have the humidifier turned off. We're going to get the meter on here, and then we're going to turn the power back on and test it real quick. So there we go. All right, so we have carefully clamped these on. Here's the one yellow wire feeding this solenoid valve. Okay, we have it here. And the other wire goes over to here, but that's crimped together with this red wire, so we can just grab it right here. So basically we have the two yellow wires that are feeding this on the meter now, and we want to be careful that these are not touching each other. They're also not touching the ductwork or anything metallic to short them out. So we have this set up. We're going to turn on our meter here. All right, now I'm going to have my assistant turn the humidistat on and turn the furnace back on so we can just check it. All right. So right here we have a little over 26 volts. You want to be reading between 19 and 29 volts, somewhere in that range. And we are in that range. We have a little over 26 volts AC power that is presently feeding this. And it's energizing this, it's also energizing this. And again, we still don't have any water here, even though we have water pressure at this point. Now we have confirmed that this valve is faulty. Thanks for watching. For additional help or questions, feel free to contact us.